Now let's start learning about Firebase. And for that we will add a service layer to our application. Here on our source folder, I'm gonna create a folder called services. And because we're talking about authentication, I'm gonna add a file called auth-service. Now, why do we need a service layer? Well, for one, it's gonna keep your code clean, like your components has the job of displaying the data, and your service will fetch and return the data from the server. By decoupling your data layer from your components, you can change and update one file. You can swap completely your backend service and just change it on your service. Your components will still be the same. So this is really important to keep your code consistent. Now to create one, we're just going to create a JavaScript class. Call it auth-service. And to use this class, we're going to use a pattern called a singleton. Here I'm going to export a constant that we're going to use in our components. And that is going to be a new instance of auth-service. Now, why would you do this? This singleton pattern will prevent this auth-service to be instantiated multiple times. For example, let's say we have a name. And here, let's instantiate the name like that. So whenever you're going to import this in your component and use this name, it will still be the same. If you use it in multiple components, you create only one instance of the name property. So let's create another function in here and see how it works. Say hello. And I'm going to return just like that. Now to use this authentication service, you can go on any component. It's going to go in here in the app. And here I'm going to use a component lifecycle. We're going to learn about it later in this chapter. So component did load. The component did load will fetch the data before your component is rendered. But we'll see more about that later. So here I'm just going to console log that hello function and also the name. Now I just need to import it from our service, auth-service. Now I'm going to start my server. npm start. Now here in the browser, if I open the DevTools and go on console, I can see whatever that function says. So basically this is how you can use a service. We instantiate an instance of the service and import it, and we can use any of these functions inside or any properties that we add to it. Also, if you import this auth-service in multiple components, it will use the same instance of this class, which is very important.